Welcome to the Natural History Cupboard. Come on in.
Welcome back to the Natural History Cupboard podcast, the place where the weird and wonderful parts of the natural world come together. I'm your host, Gareth, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Aaron. Aaron, what have you been doing?
Eating the banoffee pie.
Ah, good.
Yeah.
The future past banoffee pie has come to fruition.
This is going to be really weird because I mentioned it last week.
Yeah,
making
twice.
it, and then I've eaten it this week. But then in the Halloween episode, because we recorded it last week, I'm going to be making the same one that I've just eaten.
I mean, what you could do to complete the time continuum is just make another
one. Or it can be like a Back to the Future kind of.
You'll appear to take the pie from yourself.
Back to the past banoffee pie.
Ah.
The Terminator was sent backward in time to steal my banoffee pie. I've not eaten it. The Terminator ate it.
Right. Okay.
It's a single-minded mission of Skynet is to steal my banoffee pie.
And they say they waste their time and money. They say the Terminator sequels are getting worse, but I don't see it.
I think this could be an improvement on the last one, actually.
Anyway.
The last one was all right. I mean, the one before that one was right.
Yeah.
And the one before that one. Anyway, I'm very good. Do you know what I saw this week?
What did you see?
I went surfing with my.
I noticed because as I walked up past your house, it looked like there was 3 people standing outside your house. No, it's a washing line with 3 wetsuits, like illuminated from the back.
When I walk past the door late at night, it makes me jump.
I'm not surprised.
Oh, yes, the wetsuits. No, but what I did see, in fact, Atta, my partner, found it as a hermit crab, but not just any hermit crab. Hermit crab in a shell. It must have been about 5 inches long. I've not seen
a big,
hermit
decent
crab
sized
that
hermit crab
big in the UK.
The marine one, obviously, we don't have freshwater ones here.
No, it's marine.
But, yeah.
Down Woolacombe, but yeah, I've seen lots of hermit crabs, but they're always like that.
Yeah,
barely even an inch in length. But this one, good 4.5, 5 inches.
Good couple of years old, that one.
Yeah, it's really really nice to see. And then Atta found another one after that as well. Yeah, just as big apparently.
Hang on, apparently.
Yeah, well, I didn't see the second.
Oh, right.
I didn't see the second.
Yeah, no, I definitely saw loads of hermit crabs. Yeah, huge.
No,
huge.
I saw the first one. She saw it first, and we got it out and we had a good look at it. But then I was with our daughter, teaching her how to bodyboard, and that was when Atta found the other one.
Fair enough. That's pretty cool.
She might have found the same one twice.
Yeah, that's very similar.
How about you?
You know what? Not much wildlife, other than obviously the animals and working with and everything.
What a letdown.
I mean, no, they're quite nice animals, to be honest. But today did come across a species of moth that was one that I've never encountered before.
Box.
A box tree moth, which is a introduced species, but a very pretty moth as well. It's white with like a black edge around its wings.
It's from the superior continent, isn't it?
What, Asia?
Asia, yeah.
Okay.
I like Asia.
Right, okay. I wondered where this was going.
Very beautiful. No, it wasn't sarcastic or political or anything like that. It's just that I really like Asia.
Fair enough. I mean, they're considered a pest, basically, and they've spread throughout most of southern England. And are working their way up, and I think they've been recorded up in Scotland as well. So they are a pest species, and this one would have been a second one of the year, basically, because it's out so late.
They don't mind the crap weather then.
Well, they'll die off fairly late because they'll have basically laid eggs now and have waiting for the end.
And they
effectively.
They don't mind the British flag waving.
I'm guessing
moths going, go back home.
I don't know. I've not come across any moths that wave flags, but I'd be intrigued to see that.
Than our people.
But yeah, usually I tend to find usually tend to find 1 or 2 interesting moths flying to the bathroom of a night. But haven't seen any for a while. It's starting to get colder, so not as much around. But yeah,
saw a nice cellar spider at work today as well. Yeah, that was cool. Got to pick it up, and they go, "Oh, that's a dinky spider." I said, "Yeah, but this is like his size doesn't do him justice for the damage he can do
He,
because they can kill house spiders, which
yeah.
are much bigger than them." And I've seen it. I think it was last year. I said on this podcast that I watched one get bitten, and then like kind of shaking the web whilst this other guy just basically drank its innards.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool spider, the cellar spider. Yeah,
Floccus flangeroides, I believe.
exactly that.
Hmm. Right.
I don't have a clue.
Should we go into the news?
It's the news!
Right, well, we're into this week's news. Aaron, take us away.
So my first article comes to us from Bird Guides, which is an awesome source for news if you're ever interested. And the headline is "Ambitious Mission Launched to Find Last Saolas on Earth." Now I struggle with that because we were discussing how you pronounce the name of the antelope, Saolas, and it's Saolas, just in case you're wondering, Saolas. So discovered in 1992, the bovid dubbed the Asian unicorn is a critically endangered species, and its status may be more dire than ever, with estimations numbering in the mere tens and no confirmed sightings for more than a decade. A global team of conservationists have been dispatched to the Laos Mountains in the hopes of finding a surviving population.
So I've gone for one from ABC7 News. It's a channel in America, I believe. Chunk, a towering brown bear with a broken jaw, has swept the competition for this year's Fat Bear of the Year, Fat Bear Week winner. This bear is a whopping 1,200 pounds. He is quite a chunky looking bear and apparently had a broken jaw at one point, but he still managed to take the top spot. So, that one is actually a week or two old. But it's one that I've been holding on to. That's a fantastic competition, just as good as the forest and bird.
It happens annually too.
Yeah.
It's one that you can follow along with. So my next article comes to us from The Independent. Hoard of 600-year-old treasures uncovered in vulture nests. So bearded vultures in Spain have been found to have been stashing away relics and artifacts over 6 centuries old. The discovery was made by archaeologists examining nest sites in the south of Spain and have documented a crossbow bolt, a slingshot, and a piece of decorated leather among a myriad of other things. The species has been extinct in that region for over 100 years, but their nests have remained so well preserved that it has allowed for this astonishing find.
Yeah, I mean, that whole thing is fascinating.
I think they found like a shoe as well.
Yeah,
like several 100-year-old shoe.
It's the nest sites that basically, are treasure troves, really.
Yeah, most of these relics are actually what makes the nest.
Yeah,
they were stealing
picking them up and
magpieing them and weaving them into the nest.
Right. Well, I've got one that it's archaeological or paleontological, if you want, in nature as well. This is from phys.org, and it's a 126,000-year-old fossil or trace fossil found in South Africa. It's the world's first known butt drag fossil.
Nice.
So it was likely made by a dassie or a rock hyrax, which are fantastic little creatures. And according to the study in Ichnos, which is the journal on ichnofossils, which is trace fossils, the unique fossil itself is a 95-centimeter long impression with 5 parallel striations and was discovered near the Cape South Coast, and it's the first report of such a trace fossil on record. So I mean, that's cool. Butt drag fossils.
Scratch that itch.
Yeah.
And my final headline article comes to us from Live Science. So ancient DNA from Mexico's mammoths reveals unexpected and unexplained genetic mysteries. So scientists have sequenced ancient DNA from Colombian mammoths, the only mammoth species endemic to North and Central America. The 2019 construction of the Felipe Angeles International Airport uncovered so many Colombian mammoth fossils that it caught the attention of paleontologist Federico Sanchez Quinto, who touched base with the excavation team and kick-started the genetic study. These are the first mammoth fossils from the tropics to be in good enough condition to go through this process, and the results yielded answers that demanded further questions, namely that in the 2021 study, it was revealed that Colombian mammoths were a population of hybrids that crossed the Bering Strait, but that the Colombian mammoths in Mexico specifically are genetically distinct from those in the US and Canada. But as yet, nobody knows why.
Mexican mammoths.
I believe the Colombian mammoth, the hybridization was steppe mammoth and woolly mammoth.
Fair enough. Oh. Well, my final one comes from, I'm going for the obscure American TV stations here. This is from WOWK 13 News, and it's over 100 endangered giant salamanders were released into protected Ohio waterways this year as part of conservation efforts. Basically, over 100 hellbenders have been let loose back into the waterways there to repopulate. So, fantastic news. The snot otter is back.
Yeah, very good. Well, for now. Now it's in the news. Trump will know about it. So yeah, that's the end of our headline articles. We're going to move into the main article, but if you just humour me for a second.
I'll humour you.
I just wanted to say to people listening that might be interested in wildlife news and stuff, you're going to have to start being really, really careful about the news that you see online, because there's been several AI videos are very easy. I find them.
Have you been tricked, have you?
No, I haven't. But it's been particularly easy to pick out the flaws with AI videos. However, AI photos are getting so much better. There was one on a zookeeper website, and they were all having a laugh about it. And I felt a bit.
It's not the gorilla and the penguins one, is it?
Yeah. I felt like a bit of a grumpy old man because I was saying that I don't really see why this is funny. Like, this is gonna cause people who are very easily led, or people who are not so easily led, to believe the stories like chimpanzees coming down from the Congo to the beaches to collect African black-footed penguins.
They've got a very long way if that's the case.
I know, but most people don't understand like the
geography of Africa,
the geography of Africa, or even the geography of their own country. So I just thought I'd put it out there. Just be careful where you get news from, because I think
we might be AI. You never know.
We could be.
Yeah.
AI is
all
our
be a stimulation.
We've already established AI is after the Monopoly Pie. So
Skynet's coming.
Anyway, we'll get into the main article, and that is from Discover Wildlife, which is part of the BBC Wildlife kind of online thing. And it's not so much a news article, but I thought it was worth pointing out to people. The headline is, or the title of the article is, "I camera trapped the Congo for a year. These are my best photos." Now, it wasn't me, and it's not my photos. That's the title, okay? Just so you know. But yes, it's not so much a as news as it is a photographic documentary. Author and wildlife photographer Will Barrard Lucas embarked on a mission to demystify one of the most biologically rich locations on Earth. Speaking of the Congo, this is the Congo.
No gorillas.
No gorillas. Which boasts a size. Well, actually, in the photo, it's
sorry, gorillas. No penguins. I meant to say.
Yeah, no penguins. Yeah, but it was chimpanzees in the photo with the penguins. Anyway, the Congo boasts a size of more than 2 million kilometers squared, an area that takes up space in no less than 6 African countries, and shelters within its habitats more than 400 species of mammal alone. Forget all the other taxa, but other than mammals, much of its diversity actually remains very much enigmatic. The effort centers on the locale of, and I apologize in advance, Nuabale Ndoki National Park. Hopefully I've pronounced that at least somewhere near correct, which is basically in the northern Congo territory. And the goal was to present photographic documentation that would motivate stronger protection efforts. Will seems to have had a real meal just to get to the park, flying, boating, driving and trekking through some pristine rainforest, which is also extremely challenging terrain. Now, once on site, 5 camera traps were set up, which he then had help maintaining from the Wildlife Conservation Society. Now, over the course of these 12 months, he did move some of these camera traps around the area that he was in. But anyway, such maintenance didn't make the cameras a surefire strategy for the success of the mission. He had naughty forest elephants, storms, and rubber-eating ants to contend with, among other challenges that were hampering the integrity of his camera traps. But Will did manage to get some absolutely stunning photos that I would like you guys to go and have a look at. And I firmly believe that if anything would motivate a stronger drive to conserve the Congo, it's his efforts here. Now, I haven't and I won't be putting his photos up in this segment, save for one, which is my favourite, because quite honestly, it's his photos and we shouldn't take credit for them or anything. But I really, like I say, I really just wanted to highlight his work without our viewers just getting them from us. And I want you guys to actively go and seek them out because they are well worth viewing, and Will's efforts in them in itself are more than worth the attention. So head over, please, to Discovery Wildlife Online, where you can read the article in full and see some of his images. He tells the way it's written is really entertaining about these elephants basically being little pikes, shall we say? And yeah, but he had these wonderful photos of a bull elephant, a leopard, other elephants. But the final note, my favorite image, I want to end it on. This image that I'm sharing with his name clearly credited as the source is wonderful. On the surface, it shows a mother and baby chimpanzee, with the mother fishing for termites using the famous chewed smooth twig probe that chimps are famous for. Now, I thought it was fitting, with the subject of last week being Dame Jane Goodall's life, that this photo be released by Will and the BBC this week. Now, what's happening here, according to Will, is the passing down of skills and information between generations. And what might be even more interesting, I mean, you can see the baby looking up at his mum doing it, or her mum doing it. So it's really cool. But what might be even more interesting is that this technique for termite fishing, the way that she is using that probe, is actually somewhat different compared to the techniques seen in other chimp troops. So you're not just seeing knowledge being passed down, you're also seeing a practice that is species wide, being specific to cultures, like cultural differences, evolution of a practice through culture. Both of which are entries into chimpanzee ethology that wouldn't have been gained without Will's photographic efforts. I doubt there's anyone connected to him that's listening or watching, but if I could just say one thing to Will, it would be good on you. Really well done. The photos are stunning, and I really hope that I hope this effort succeeds, because it's a wonderful place to try and conserve. But yeah, that's
cool.
That's my
somewhere I've always. I would say I'd like to go to the Congo.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah,
I would like to see gorillas.
Gambia, I think, is like Ivory Coast, and that sort of western edge of it. There's a lot of bird watching that goes on there. I'd like to go there. But yeah.
You know, if we get enough patrons.
Yeah, why not? Fly out to Africa. Although my French is non-existent, so I have to learn.
I can. My French is like Joey from Friends.
Petty me, Rodney. Anyway, should we head into a creature feature that I've been planning for a while? Shall we say?
It's been in the making for 66 million years.
Well, 99 actually. But...
Yeah, fair. Yeah, that's true. That's more accurate. Yeah.
It's the creature feature.
Right, well, we're into this week's creature feature. It's one I've been putting off for quite a while, but we're going to do this. We're going to get through it. And hopefully by the end of this, it won't have changed too much. But we'll see.
That was what my joke was going to be about.
What, by the end of the episode, it'll have changed?
The reason you've been putting it off, I said to you off mic before we started, I said to you, I had kind of a joke, inside joke, really. But you've been putting this off for what, 5 seasons?
Yeah, it's changed quite a bit in that time.
It keeps changing and it'd be impossible. I was super prepared this week. I had Gareth's script and everything set up in the studio already. Like I think Sunday.
Right.
Imagine my shock and surprise when I went on lunch break at 3:30 today and discovered that you had the final version of the photo script So you changed your script in the space of like 2 days.
Added, not changed,
Fair.
but yeah. Okay, so anyway, it's 1944. During an Allied bombing raid on Munich, a series of explosions tore through the Bavarian State Collection. Now, inside of this museum, among many irreplaceable specimens that were housed within, they were destroyed. I mean, bigger picture, World War II was happening. It's a tragedy that these things were destroyed, but the overall net, gain of getting rid of Nazis kind of,
Yeah.
it's yeah. Anyway,
You wouldn't have think it worked though if you looked at the world today.
No. So anyway, in amongst this collection of irreplaceable specimens that were destroyed were the bones of one of the strangest and most spectacular dinosaurs that have ever been found, Spinosaurus aegypticus. Now, these fossils were first described in 1915 by German paleontologist Ernst Stromer, who'd come across them in the Beria Oasis in Egypt and revealed an enormous predator with spines more than a meter long rising from its back. Yet Stromer's careful work was lost in the chaos of war. These were the only specimens of this animal at this point, and all that remained of Spinosaurus were his sketches, a few photographs, and written descriptions. So for a while, this animal was lost to the world. That loss would set the tone for the creature's entire scientific journey, a story of mystery, speculation, and constant revision. And I say constant revision.
On a weekly basis.
Almost, yeah. Over the following century, Spinosaurus would repeatedly change form like some sort of morphing creature, both in science and in popular imagination. So let's take a look this week at Spinosaurus. Now, before I get into the vast history of how much this animal has changed, I thought I'd give you a little bit of a background as to what Spinosaurus, well, where it lived, and how it went about its day.
As of today.
Well, yeah. So Spinosaurus fossils come from the mid-Cretaceous period, primarily what's called the Cenomanian stage, which is 100 million years to about 93.9 million years ago. Now, at this point, Egypt is basically a massive wetland area, very unlike what it is today. The original material that Stromer found was from the Beria Formation in Egypt, but most of the newer and more complete material comes from what's known as the Kem group in eastern Morocco and nearby parts of northern Africa. Now, the environment of these parts of North Africa at the time were completely different to how they are today. They were river-dominated deltas, or what are known as near coastal systems, full of large rivers, channels, lagoons, floodplains, and abundant freshwater and brackish water environments full of fish, crocodiles, crocodiliforms, so crocodile-like creatures, turtles, plesiosaurs living in freshwater as well, pterosaurs, and lots of patchy areas of terrestrial vegetation mixed in amongst, wetland sort of habitat. It's been likened to some parts of northern Australia today, the environment. So, well, where you get a lot of crocodiles, basically. So the Kem assemblage, as it's known, is especially noted for being fish-rich and unusually heavy in large predators as well, which we'll touch on a little bit. Now, a Spinosaurus it's carnivore. That's unmistakable. We've not really gone through any stage of thinking it was anything other than that, because some of the original bones that were found were teeth. And the teeth of Spinosaurus are actually, quite well represented. I've got a Spinosaurus tooth somewhere. I was going to try and dig it out for this, but I can't remember which box it's in.
A genuine or
genuine one, yeah. Only a small one, but I mean, some of the ones you can get are, close to T-Rex sized in sort of what they do, but they are conical like a crocodile, so they are fish-eating teeth, not blade-like like an Allosaurus or bone-crushing like a T-Rex one. So in the Kem beds and the Beria, you'd have found all sorts of different animals living there, but the best candidates of prey for a Spinosaurus are mostly fish. And probably the most famous one is Onchopristis, which is a late Cretaceous sawfish, a type of shark that we still have around today. And in fact, their abundant rostral saw teeth, the little bits that go down the side of their big, long rostrum, which did come off every now and again if they were used to either attack prey or defend themselves, would break off every now and again. They're a major component of the fossils that are found in these rivers, so they would have been prey for a Spinosaurus. Marsonia, which is a giant coelacanth, and I say giant, it's car-sized.
Oh wow!
A normal coelacanth is sort of the size of this couch,
Yeah.
But these are huge coelacanths, and they came in all variety of different sizes. Living in these rivers, were part of the fish assemblage that were there. You'd have also come across freshwater plesiosaurs and small crocodilians, and I would put money on it that a full-grown Spinosaurus would quite happily munch down on anything that it basically got its jaws around.
So Nessie, look out.
Basically, yeah. And also, I'd imagine any pterosaur that got too close to the water, or small dinosaurs that also strayed in front of its path as well. A predator is going to do its best to find food wherever, and I wouldn't say, and I would say it probably wouldn't pass up a dead Onchopristus lying at the side of the river either.
Yeah.
But it also shared these habitats with some pretty interesting animals as well. So the mid-Cretaceous North African dinosaurs in this region included the super carnivore Carcharodontosaurus,
an awesome animal,
shark-toothed lizard, a huge theropod, and basically was the massive theropod that lived on the land, while Spinosaurus lived around the edges and possibly in the water. So it's not a safe place if you're a herbivorous dinosaur, really. You'd have also had Rabacosaurids, like Rabacosaurus, which is a species of relatively sort of short sauropods. Nigerosaurus, with the famous sort of Hoover-like mouth, is a Rabacosaurid. Deltadromeus, one of Drew's favorite dinosaurs, a relatively light-built theropod, is also known from the Chem beds as well. You would have also had, living alongside of them, Egyptosaurus, which is a titanosaur as well. So it's a pretty varied habitat. You'd have also had large crocodilian, crocodilomorphs and crocodilians. Sarcosuchus, which you may be familiar with, not living at the same time as these guys, had died out about 10 million years previous. Another large crocodile-like creature. So they wouldn't have come across them, but still some pretty big crocodiles, living in this river. Not somewhere you want to go swimming. It's or walking along the side of, or just generally anywhere
within
near
a mile or two of. Yeah,
it's probably not a very safe place for a human-sized animal. Kind of squishy and very easy prey. Even the fish could eat you.
Easily snapped up.
Yeah. And also Rugops as well. And one of my favorite sort of abelosaurid dinosaurs is another one that lived at this same time. So a lot of predators. So we return to the fossil record. This animal has changed so much, it's unbelievable. From the 1950s on to the 1970s, you sort of have this picture drawn of these animals just from those original stroma drawings. So with his fossils gone, Spinosaurus became a name attached to these fragments and just guesses, really, for the decades after World War II. Paleontologists had little to go on beyond Stromer's notes, the few pictures that were taken, and the reconstructions basically showed an image of a tail-dragging, sluggish reptile, as most dinosaurs were depicted in those days anyway. But the 1950s into the 1960s showed Spinosaurus as a sort of conventional meat-eating dinosaur. Just think of a T-Rex or a Megalosaurus or an Allosaurus with a sail stuck on its back.
Even to the point that it had like that kind of domed, old-style Victorian theropod head.
Very much so, mostly because there weren't very many bits of the skull that had been found. So best guess at that time was just a generic theropod skull. And going with that really sort of old world view of them. It was often portrayed standing upright with its tail resting on the ground, that kangaroo posture reflecting these outdated ideas of dinosaur posture. The sail was treated purely as a decorative feature, perhaps for display or maybe for thermoregulation, because at this point they were big dumb lizards that couldn't obviously, live without. That sort of lizard-like, I have to warm up. And its long snout was very much not emphasized at all because it wasn't really known. In popular media, Spinosaurus made a few appearances. In fact, I mean, I can't really think of many appearances in popular media for Spinosaurus other than Jurassic Park 3, which I will go into.
It's not in that one where I always forget the name of it, but it's a brilliant movie, black and white if I remember. They're in a submarine, they go down underneath through this cave and they come up in this prehistoric world, and there's like
I know that
dinosaurs and an iguanodon that's quite clearly no, not iguanodon, sorry, an actual green iguana.
Where they just stuck a sail on its back.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of the time that was just the generic way of doing a dinosaur, yeah. But no, I mean, I can't think of many times that it was even mentioned because it was a very unheard of dinosaur. It made few appearances, often overshadowed by the likes of T-Rex and Allosaurus. There's obviously that North America bias for both of those dinosaurs.
Yeah.
A few low-budget films and dinosaur books in the 1960s and 70s included it, usually as a generic spined dinosaur, and often it was conflated or even mixed up with Dimetrodon, which is not a dinosaur at all. It's a sailback synapsid that lived millions of years earlier, and is nothing like it. But like I say, the lines between the species blurred in pop culture and comics because at that point, people didn't really care about the accuracy of it. A dinosaur was just a big lizard.
Yeah.
Spinosaurus, it was an enigma at this point and could be drawn almost in any way the artist wished. In fact, what I've been putting up whilst we've been doing this is some of the artwork that I've drawn of old paleo art of different pictures of Spinosaurus going through the years that I used many years ago for like education stuff that did dinosaurs and that. But this newer vision of the dinosaur started to happen around what's known as the dinosaur renaissance in the 1980s to the 1990s. So in sort of late 70s and into the 1980s, this transformed paleontology. It's the discovery that dinosaurs were dynamic and intelligent, and the artwork reflected this as well. They were active animals rather than slow-moving reptiles. As new fossils of other theropods came to light, Deinonychus, the idea of Spinosaurus evolved as well. And by the 1980s, artists began to give it more of a horizontal posture. Still not great, but, putting its tail a little bit more off the ground, inspired by reconstructions of Deinonychus and T-Rex, with its arms depicted as more functional, its tail held a bit more stiff for balance. The skull was starting to change, no longer the generic carnivore head of the 1950s, but something slightly longer and a bit narrower, but still not anywhere close to the crocodilian-like skull that it has today.
Yeah.
And it was a lot narrower and hinting at a piscivore diet, fish eating, obviously. Now, popular depictions reflected the gradual refinement of this animal. And in 1985's PBS documentary, The Dinosaurs, and I definitely think this is the one that I remember watching as a kid. I believe that is the documentary I had on VHS as a kid. And I used to watch to the point where I think the actual tape, destroyed itself. And later in educational books, like National Geographic's Dinosaurs from the 1990s, Spinosaurus appeared as a tall-sailed predator stalking riverbanks. Still not given the same sort of function or sort of fame that it's got nowadays. More exotic than the usual Jurassic Park lineup because, we're into the 1990s now. It would be 1993, 94 that Jurassic Park comes out and basically smacks everyone on the face with, dinosaurs are cool again, people. Remember dinosaurs? So it basically still was grounded as a bipedal, predator. So it's advanced a bit. And by the mid 1990s, paleontologists had identified more fragments from North Africa and realized that Spinosaurus was potentially even larger than T-Rex. And this revelation captured the public's imagination when it finally appeared in Jurassic Park 3 in 2001. The groundworks for its cinematic dominance had already been laid. And in fact, this dinosaur that could give an incredible performance as well and dethrone a T-Rex in the first part of it, basically, helped to cement its love it or hate it sort of moment. Because to this day, people still whine on about, a T-Rex could definitely beat a Spinosaurus. Oh, Spinosaurus, the amount of like, meh, 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 meh.
What's your definitive answer on could a Spinosaurus break a T-Rex's neck in that way?
Are we talking the film one?
No.
Right. An actual Spinosaurus.
Down so that all the awesome bros can get it through the thick skulls.
An actual T-Rex and an actual Spinosaurus, if somehow you've transported them to the same place, the T-Rex is probably going to deliver a bite that is much more devastating than a Spinosaurus could.
Now, I will say that I deliberately wore my T-Rex t-shirt for this episode, but I will also say that fight is actually totally acceptable to me.
Good.
It's a fantasy series, and also I hate that film, and I still hate it now. But that is the least. In fact, I wouldn't even consider it a sin. But if it was a sin, it would be the least offensive sin in that movie.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, I see that animal there as now they sort of retconned it as like InGen's first attempt at a hybrid thing. Yeah. It backs it up brilliantly as well. I absolutely loved the Spinosaurus in that film because it wasn't a T-Rex, and I've always been the contrarian and say no, I don't want a T-Rex. I want something different. So, like when Giganotosaurus was found, I loved Giganotosaurus more than a T-Rex because the idea of this big South American not T-Rex but bigger than T-Rex. Yeah,
I think if I'd actually watched the fight when I went to the cinema, so
if you hadn't walked out,
I might have. I walked out before the fight, but if I'd actually watched that fight, I must have been 14 at the time, so I probably would have been a bit like, but as an adult, I'm glad that I saw the fight as an adult, as in you're a little bit more like, oh, that's cool, that's a cool fantasy. I think it's cool. I do have another question, Jurassic Park related. Ignore the films because I think they're both as atrociously bad as each other, but the Rebirth, the Spinosaurus versus the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus, which design do you like more?
There was a Spinosaurus in Rebirth?
Yeah, there was like 3 or 4 of them.
Oh, those things. Oh, no, I don't like the look of them. No. They've got no neck.
No.
They've got no neck.
They're like...
They're no-necked Spinosaurs. Anyway.
They're weird, but yeah.
So when Spinosaurus made its Hollywood debut in 2001 in Jurassic Park 3, it did so in a spectacular fashion and surprising scientific justification at the time. The film Spinosaurus was based on the best available evidence at that point. A long crocodilian-like snout, and it's where we see that appearance now of the crocodilian snout coming into it, with conical teeth and that distinctive sail. The sail, however, is now inaccurate because it was more of just a nice curve. Yeah. And also the posture as well is out as well. But it was suspected to be a fish eater, possibly semi-aquatic, but few believed it was fully adapted for swimming. And in fact, the sort of posture they gave it is basically a baryonyx with a sail, which is one of its close relatives.
You know, there's that scene where they get through the fence and the phone goes off, they turn around and he's still at the tree line. I love that, like that image of him, like, yeah, that's a very cool image of a Spinosaurus.
I love that Spinosaur. For the other part of this as well is Industrial Light and Magic and Stan Winston Studios built the largest animatronic dinosaur ever created. And I believe this still stands as the largest animatronic dinosaur still made. It was over 12 meters long, weighed roughly 12 tons. It could tilt, turn, and crush metal props, a testament to both the engineering and imagination at the time. Its dynamic fight with the T-Rex cemented it as a new popular icon in pop culture, and the supposed biggest carnivore of all time, although later discoveries would change much of this portrayal, obviously, and give Spinosaurus the new identity of the mysterious super predator of the Cretaceous. But the one bit that I hate in that film, now there's
only one bit?
Oh, I mean, this is the standout bit for me that really irritates me.
Okay.
They've just been attacked by this incredibly large sail-backed predator.
I know what you're going to
in the
say.
plane.
Yeah.
They've dropped to the ground. Billy is asking Dr. Grant, who is a paleontologist, both of them are paleontologists, what do you think that was, Billy? Suchomimus. No, think bigger. Baryonyx? Well, that's smaller for a start. No. What about the sail? I kind of expected him to say Uranosaurus, perhaps, or something. But so how does that not instantly go, oh, that's a Spinosaurus?
Can I? I'm actually going to defend this movie that I hate.
Wow.
Let's not forget that Billy is the idiot that put the super intelligent raptor eggs in his bag. That guy is an idiot. Also, he's the one who talked Alan Grant into doing the one and completely killing his character.
If I was in that situation where your boss is being asked to go to an island where there are live dinosaurs, and your dream is to see live dinosaurs, I'd be like, yeah, he definitely wants to go. He definitely wants to go. Can I come as well?
Yeah.
Because they're not asking you, they're asking him.
Yeah.
But if you're tagging along, you get to go. Picking the raptor eggs up, dumb idea. But then the film can't happen.
To be fair, I probably would have picked up the raptor eggs.
God. I wouldn't have jumped off a cliff with a parachute that you somehow have repacked from a dead guy. Anyway.
Billy's an idiot.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
Through and through.
So anyway, the return to reality.
Yes.
With probably one of the most influential people in this dinosaur's rebirth is Dr. Nizar Ibrahim. And that is in the early 2010s, this young paleontologist became, well, basically the sort of renaissance for this dinosaur. He retraced Stromer's footsteps across Morocco's Sahara Desert. His determination paid off. Working with local fossil hunters, he discovered new Spinosaurus remains and changed everything that science thought they knew at this time. He basically had to ingratiate himself into a lot of these fossil markets and say, no, I'm not here to try and report you to like authorities or think. I don't want to steal stuff from you. I want to find where these are coming from so I can find, the fossil layer and then study it. And he basically went back and worked his way back up the sort of chain of different dealers and everything to eventually find where these animals were coming from. We were lucky enough to meet him that time, and I geeked out quite a bit.
He was a nice guy, though.
Yeah, he was. He was really nice. And in 2014, Ibrahim and his colleagues unveiled a much more complete skeleton. The bones revealed a short-legged, dense-bodied animal with flexible fin-like tail, more like that of a newt. Anatomical features suggesting strong swimming abilities, and it appeared that Spinosaurus wasn't merely a wader or shoreline hunter. It was being known as the first semi-aquatic dinosaur. One of the things that was considered to be like the defining trait: dinosaurs don't fly, dinosaurs don't swim. Both of those are completely out the window now because, so it was capable of chasing prey through this ancient river system. So this idea of it being almost crocodile-like all the time, with much shorter back legs, flat feet as well, which is quite different for a theropod dinosaur, heavy, dense bones, and living in the water. But in 2020, a follow-up study strengthened this aquatic hypothesis with further tail fossils showing that it could generate thrust like a crocodile. For the first time in over a century, Spinosaurus had a completely coherent body plan. And this is kind of where we're at now. But it's changed so much and, gone backwards and forwards. It's yeah, it's well, basically a completely different animal to what it was 100 years ago. It's even a completely different animal to its cinematic counterpart. Shortly after Jurassic Park 3 came out, the sort of head crest bit of Spinosaurus was found, and that completely outdated the sort of snout on the animatronic model.
Yeah, because that was quite literally like a giant crocodile
Yeah,
face.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But we're now at a point where this animal is debated hotly. It's a bit like the
Were
whole.
we ever not at that point?
It's a bit like the is T-Rex a scavenger or is he an active predator debate. There's a lot of people
Did he have lips? Did
who
he not have
likes to
lips?
fight over this because they can fight over it. So there's ongoing debate as to how aquatic it was. Despite these breakthroughs, despite debate continues to swirl around Spinosaurus. Some paleontologists argue that the reconstruction overstate its aquatic abilities, citing uncertainties in limb proportions, biomechanics, weight distribution. They see it instead as a specialized wader, and the animal fished in deep water, but still dependent on land for movement and nesting. Others embrace the image of a fully or near fully aquatic dinosaur with crocodilian-like lifestyle and a powerful tail adapted for swimming. The truth probably lies somewhere in between. But one thing is definitely certain: Spinosaurus defies simple categorization, and it has for well, over a century now. From its fiery destruction in wartime Munich to its resurrection on the silver screen and rediscovery in the Moroccan deserts, Spinosaurus has undergone more transformations than probably any dinosaur has. Hence why I've been very reluctant to touch this one. It's one of my favorite dinosaurs as well. Began as the towering land-walking carnivore of Stromer's sketches, became a speculative monster in the 1950s, evolved into a sleek fish eater in the 90s, and stands as the semi-aquatic marvel of evolution that it does today, a true hell heron of the Cretaceous. Now, I see it more as the sort of semi-aquatic animal myself, and basically acting like a lot of the other members of the Spinosaurid and Baryonychine members of the Spinosaurid clade, where they would basically be fish eaters, but sort of stand in the shallows and everything. Although I see Spinosaurus as being that little bit more specialized to living in a semi-aquatic environment. I think it's doing a bit of both. It's not as long-legged as other members of its family, like Suchomimus, Baryonyx, Irritator, any of those. So it's probably not as fast on land, but it could still move on land. It's just a bit more niche petitioned, I think. It's got Carcharodontosaurus living up in the up behind it, up on the land, and it's got the riverbank and the river to basically take full advantage of, and with giant fish to be able to eat, wouldn't you?
It's got that niche all to itself.
Yeah.
I tend to fall in between semi-aquatic and fully aquatic. I maybe a little bit more towards semi-aquatic, but I'd say like almost bang smack in between the two somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a dinosaur that by the time this comes out, there'll probably be a paper that completely and utterly invalidates the view, the artwork that Drew's done for it. So
For a laugh, I certainly hope so.
I can just hear the anger as he's sort of looking at it and going ah. But yeah, it's a dinosaur that I've loved, and I think focusing on how much it's changed over the years is probably a better way to do that and not get stuck down in changes that will eventually come to it. And like your T-Rex one, I feel that I could come back and do more on it. So we shall see.
One thing that, in my opinion, it shares in common with Tyrannosaurus Rex is the more accurate. No, how would I word this? The more closer we think we get to representing it accurately in paleo art, the cooler the animal becomes.
Yeah.
Like you add the lips to the Tyrannosaur, you add the actual shape of the sail to the Spinosaur, then you change its tail shape, then you add a little bit of the crest on the Tyrannosaur, and they become more realistic.
It's refining a rough model down to the finished product. Just that Spinosaurus has been reshaped a few more times.
Yes. but the more realistic it becomes, I think, the scarier it looks.
Well, one of the newer debates is do Spinosaurids have lips as well? And
yeah.
there's quite a few bits of
Good luck
artwork.
with that one because the Tyrannosaur fanboys are very aggressive
Well, yeah.
on that on both sides.
So anyway, that is Spinosaurus. So I've done it now. You can mark the day. Boom, it's done. Moving on to the next controversial one. Anyway, let's move into our emails for this week.
And we'll be back in 2 weeks' time with Spinosaurus
change it.
Part 2.
Bing! You've got mail. Ooh, it's an email.
Right, well, we're into this week's emails, and we're going to start things off with last week's question, which was, what is your favourite primate and why? Something we've not done a lot of primates on the. In fact, I think I've done all the primates so far, bar the one hominid we've done.
Yes, that was me, but I've done pretty well to actively avoid them.
In fact, I think you've even touched on them. Yeah, you didn't even touch on them in your rainforest one.
Nope.
Yeah.
Deliberately, if you remember that conversation.
Yep. Well, there you go. So
Drew was like, "Do you want a primate? Because me and Gareth didn't primates." Nope. No, thank you.
Oh well. So anyway, we'll start things off with people's favourite primates. Jen Babs has said, this question brought much hilarity for me. The hubby went into a frenzy because he doesn't like chimpanzees. In his words, they're too close to the bone, too human-like. Whereas I like them and bonobos because of all their expressions. He suggested ring-tailed lemurs on account of how unlike us they are. So we settled on the the long-fingered animal for rooting out grubs. Very cool. Great question. Looking forward to the next episode. I like how you went from, I mean, it's one lemur to another, but you went from ring-tailed lemur to which ii are much cooler than ring-tailed lemurs, I think.
Eyes are creepy.
I like it. What happens
like
when primate does squirrel?
Primate does squirrel, does mogwai, and then you put whatever that is you put that on some sort of LSD trip.
I like them.
So the next comment comes to us from Sarah Berry, who says pied tamarins, small, adorable, can't be. Sorry. Incredibly angry with no regard for their size. Equals perfection. Also, their heads look funny, covered in pollen. Just don't tell them I said that. Closely followed by grey-headed lemurs. I'm biased, but feel they're clever for an eulema. Yeah, very good.
I'm not a fan of pied tamarins. It's always going to be the emperor tamarin for me.
Tamarin or
the mustard.
Marmoset. They're all.
No, not a fan of calatrichids.
No. I
Golden lion tamarins are cool.
I like the Midas marmosets.
The golden lion tamarin.
No. I think you might call them red-handed.
Oh, red-handed.
They're black and they've got like this.
Yeah.
I don't know why I call them red-handed. They're literally golden-handed.
Yeah.
But they're black with golden hands. I do think they're cute, and I do think emperor tamarins are cute. But I mean, like I have to do that through gritted teeth because they're primates and primates suck.
Abjit Bokar has put humans are my favorite primates. I'd actually say they're my least favorite primates in many ways. I mean, I like the human primates that I'm around, but if you ask me to pick a species of primate, I still think we're.
Well, we've created something.
We did come up with donuts and TV, so all right.
Well, that's a much. Without primates, we wouldn't. Without humans, we wouldn't have Star Wars.
That's a good point.
If chimpanzees did Star Wars, it'd be extremely violent and more. There'd be a lot
more feces.
More feces than the Rise of Skywalker. Anyway, moving on. Rachel Henson. So tempted to name a capuchin here. Now she couldn't choose.
The reason is she knows many capuchins that both myself and her had worked with.
Oh yeah.
And she's then not been able to choose a particular one. I'm just going to say Amy. Amy was my favourite.
There was a brown-capped capuchin at Edinburgh Zoo called Cato, who I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Pretty clever too. He'd been trained, I believe, to return things on command when people had lost them.
Amy was called Amy because she looked like Amy Winehouse, or at least had hair that was similar.
Wow. Have you ever heard my story about Oh gosh, I can't remember his name now. He's a chimpanzee from Edinburgh Zoo. Chimpanzee David. He's like spitting image. Sorry, Sir Sean Connery, but it's spitting image of Sean Connery. If Sean Connery was cloned in chimpanzee form, it's David from Edinburgh.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Did he also, sort of
He would have had a Scottish accent too.
see? There you go. I'll take a banana, shaken, not stirred. Anyway, uh, Christopher Ackerson said, "Hard one. I have to select the ring-tailed lemur. I always found animals native to Madagascar to be unique and interesting, and I like their coloration. Uh, I can remember. I'm not a massive fan of ringtails. They get overused. I think Madagascar, the film,
I like to move
yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly. The
Would
amount of
just be,
people, the
if we were
amount of
getting
people.
monetized, that would have been demonetized right there. But yes, you are right. But they do have cool folklore about them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do like
Mm.
them, but if you're gonna pick I say basic or popular lemur, for me it would be the black and white ruff.
Fair, fair. And then finally, for our Facebook comments, Spencer Seams says orangutans are rad AF.
They are indeed.
They are,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're also as intelligent AF.
Yeah.
So that was last week's question. This week's question is, well, tied very nicely to Spinosaurus. Is what is your favorite African dinosaur? I think you could probably guess that mine is Spinosaurus. Probably second. I'm gonna have. Oh no, I don't think I have a second favorite African. Maybe Nigerosaurus. Quite like that one.
For me, it's probably Carcharodontosaurus.
Yeah, it's quite easy to pick that one because
Yeah.
it's a well, a really cool dinosaur.
It's also the name.
Yeah.
Shark-toothed lizard. Very cool. Yeah.
I have a feeling Drew will be going for Deltadromeus,
Yeah, I think so.
which is also I mean, Rugops. Yeah, the Rugops is a cool one as well. I'm gonna say Spinosaurus and Rugops. Why not?
I'd just go with Carcharodontosaurus. And that's it really. I do like Spinosaurus.
And if you're wondering
But
what African dinosaurs are out there, I did a TikTok on that one
you
actually,
did.
which yeah, I had someone very helpfully pointing out that Africa is not a country. I know that, and that's why I named various different countries inside of Africa.
Oh, social media. Is there anything you can't do?
Don't bother reading the title of the video. Just comment, that's fine. Engagement's engagement. Anyway, so yeah, let us know what your favorite African dinosaur is on our Facebook page or on our YouTube comments. In fact, Aaron, you've got some YouTube comments from last week's question.
We do have some YouTube comments. So the first one comes to us from Louise O'Leary 7945, who says, "I was so fortunate to have met Jane on at least 3 occasions." Wow. Early on, she really was not happy about animals being trained. She changed her mind eventually and realized how much more content animals seemed to be when they were not charging cages and keepers, etc., which is true. Now zoos train across the now zoos train across the board. When I was at the LA Zoo, she reconnected and was so kind to me and apologetic. I will always be grateful to her for this
Wow.
kindness. Wow. The last time I saw her was in Cheney, which is Washington, I think. Have I said that right? Cheney, WA, that's Washington.
Yeah.
Cheney, Washington, where I lived, and she came to the Eastern Washington University for a talk. She discussed islands in Africa and other places returning chimps to the wild. While she told me there are not there really not any pan troglodytes in the true wild anymore, as Gombe is surrounded by lands with no vegetation on 3 sides and Lake Tanganyika on the other, ergo no gene pool for these creatures, hence ultimate doom. She was so incredibly sad about this. Anyway, yes, so amazing. Thanks for this episode. P.S. Also met Diane Fossey on several occasions.
Wow, name dropping
so
there.
Fortunate to have lived this life. That's incredible. She follows it up with, she also realized that after a few generations, these populations will still only be partially wild, but better captivity. Which ultimately is sad because the whole point of zoos nowadays is hopefully to create a healthy gene pool for wild repopulations.
But yeah, you need to
later,
have
but
those connecting forest corridors
yeah,
for groups to be able to move.
which
And
is
there's no
something
way they're swimming over Lake Tanganyika.
no. There's something that India was very, very good at with their tigers. That
Mm.
they had because their problem was that they had so many national parks that were like great for tigers, but they had no wildlife corridors. So they
Yeah.
started stitching them together to make
I think
wildlife
part of what
corridors.
helped that is a lot of those places had religious sites in them which
I
protected
agree.
them
Yeah,
from that side of things. And then it was a simple case of just stitch this bit to the next bit,
yeah.
and it's a lot easier. But in parts of Africa, it's very fragmented because
Hmm.
of centuries of, well, us as Europeans rolling in and going, you should fight those guys.
Yeah.
And by the way, we're just going to take this whilst you guys are fighting over there, and we'll chop this bit down, and then people left with nowhere to really live other than on these edges of national parks, and the only thing left to do is to take stuff from in the national park, and then everything shrinks and shrinks, and then yeah, you just these island pockets. So
Yeah.
there's a lot harder job, I think, in Africa to be able to
Absolutely.
try and stitch those patches back together, and it's still going on to this day. You've got China in there at the moment trying to do the exact same thing of,
Yeah.
oh well, if we build you this road, we'll do this and that, and yeah, anyway, geopolitics fun.
Yeah.
But that's an
But
amazing
you
comment.
you are right. You're right. And yeah, this is an incredible comment. Yeah, that's really interesting though. Thanks, Louise, for
Mm.
sending that in. So the next comment comes in to us from Rennington, which I've already kind of spoiled the end for myself a little bit by accident. But he says, "Hello, cupboard ears." I like that name. He says, "For this week's question of my favorite primate, I would not be able to pick between gibbon species as they're all perfect animals. From brachiate in most places, which is the most distinguished way to travel, being rather pronounced with their astute vocalizations and always able to make anyone smile in any situation, apart from when they pull someone's dreadlock."
Ooh.
Yeah, that's not part of the comment.
No,
That's personal experience. Their their sheer brilliant minds are constantly thinking of new ways to enjoy themselves or pull their keeper's dreadlock. Ah. Kind regards, a fellow human and not a gibbon. Which I was laughing at.
definitely not a gibbon.
Definitely not a gibbon. Which makes me think that Rennington might
Might be a
actually be a gibbon.
Mm, yeah.
But gibbons are cool. Okay, I'll admit they're all right. And the final comment on YouTube comes to us from Rosalie9961, who says, "For this week's question of what is your favorite species of primate, I'm going with a bad answer, I'll admit. My favorite species of primate is humans, solely on the purposes that it's the species I'm able to best communicate with and form bonds with. Primates are my least favorite clade of mammals. Then they're necessary for the environment, of course, so they're important. However, I don't really care for them."
That's a person after your own heart there.
I think this boat that we're sat in, Gareth, needs to get bigger to allow a couple more people on board.
Fair enough. So yeah, there we go. There's our comments from YouTube. People letting us know that they really like primates or they really don't like primates. So either way, but that's just one of the ways you can get in contact with us. You can also get in contact with us via our email, which is thenathistorykupboard@gmail.com. I believe we had an email.
So our email that we're going to cover this week, it comes to us from Jen Greenhalgh, who corrected us on our spelling, our pronunciation of her name, in a future email that we'll cover because we're a little bit behind.
Right. Okay.
But I made sure to read it because, as I say, we like to know that we're addressing you guys properly. So thank you for that. She did say we didn't have to pronounce it properly, but I demand that we do. Anyway, Jen says, "Hello, lovelies. So glad you are back, but also glad you have had a good break. I've oh yeah, this came in like when we've returned. I've had some adventures too. Last weekend, I was supposed to take part in the Macmillan Mighty Hike in Northumberland with hubby and a chum, but I've damaged the cartilage in my knee, so I couldn't do it. They did though. Anywho, took myself to Lindisfarne, somewhere I'd like to go, while I waited for them and saw a huge noisy seal colony. At least it was a seal colony that was being noisy in Lindisfarne. A few hundred years ago, it might have been something else,
Yeah.
or someone else. Anyway, as I was parked near the end of the causeway, also an egret and about 6 curlews, plus loads of other shoreline birds that I'm not able to ID because I've forgotten my binoculars.
Nice.
So yeah, Very cool. She also has sent us a pic of unidentified shoreline bird, which I will put up, and a picture of her husband, friend, and Casper the Whippet, who I won't put up because it's her personal friends and family. Very clearly at the happy return of his dad after the hike. Keep up the good work, and I'll fill you in on DinoCon another time. Yes, because she went to
Yeah.
DinoCon. So yeah, thank you for that lovely message, Jem. Really hope that your knee's feeling better because cartilage damage to the joints is not cool.
Well, she wouldn't have been the first person to have got an injury at Lindisfarne. So
Yeah, thank goodness you weren't there. I
in
think
the long
100 years
list-
earlier,
yeah.
and somewhat religious.
in the long list of people who've been injured there, she's probably on the lower end of things, you know.
Damaged
Come on
cartilage
relatively
to
well.
the knee or axe to the knee. I would like to go to Lindisfarne. That is one of the first places that the Vikings kind of landed on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'd like to go there as well.
Yeah.
After seeing that 28 years later as well.
Oh
It's the setting of the thing. It's like they literally use the island and everything.
They're safe there until the future Vikings come.
Yeah, future Vikings. Yeah.
The Thor, Odin's son, and come down with the Mjolnir, and yeah.
Anyway, so like I say, you can get in contact with us via our email, but you can also get in contact with us as well if you want to become one of our Patreons, which we're going to tell you about now.
Hammer!
Every week, we like to give a little love back by shouting out the names of our wonderful Patreon supporters.
That's right. These are the cupboard dwellers who are kind enough to support us through a monetary contribution, for which we are eternally grateful and grateful beyond words.
And those people are, of course, Fogtober, Jen Greenhall, Connie P, Chelsea McKee, Nick to Nick,
Owen Cox,
and Matt Geddy.
Guys, your financial contributions are actively helping us out here in the Natural History Cupboard in a myriad of ways, including developing our new studio, planning excursions and being able to go out and film on location, considering technical upgrades and actually making the jump from a solely audio-based podcast to the now growing YouTube channel. And we really can't thank you enough for that.
Now, we appreciate all of our cupboard dwellers and the support you offer us through listening, liking, sharing, and subscribing. But if you feel we've earned it and you're considering joining our Patreon, there are two options through which you can do so.
That's the Nature Nerds and the Animal Ambassador tiers, which you can find on the Patreon website or links through our social media as well, and each one having different benefits for you to enjoy.
And now back to Gareth and Erin in the studio.
A massive thank you to our Patreons. We couldn't do this without you. You guys are a massive help with everything that we do. And yeah, massive thank you.
Lots of thank yous this week.
Thank yous. And just to add on the thank yous, that pretty much brings us to the end of this week's episode. So massive thank you, Aaron.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. And if I could leave one lasting sentiment for this week, it would be that cats are better than primates.
Okay. Controversial opinion to some, not to others. But yeah, and massive thank you to you at home. And a massive thank you to Spinosaurus for not changing within the week of me doing this. Please
have a paper come out tomorrow.
Please don't. Please don't. And we'll see you next time here on the Natural History Cupboard. Bye.
Bye.
Right, I've got a joke for you.
Okay.
And just like Spinosaurus, this one's probably going to change as well.
Like Spinosaurus is now out of date and unacceptable.
Yeah. What do you do if you see a Spinosaurus at the supermarket?
It wouldn't be like look twice and see if it's changed.
No. Come back later and then maybe look for survivors. I'm glad that one hit.
I actually really like that one. I think that's the best crap joke that we've had on this podcast. Oh, it makes sense too. It's funny because
It doesn't, because it wouldn't be around in the first place.
Yeah.